Sal Paolantonio was there last night covering the game for the mothership. You can see him Saturday morning, 8:30 on The Deuce. Sunday morning at 6:30 on ESPN with NFL Matchup along with Louis Riddick, Greg Cosell. Don't forget, follow him on Instagram, Sal Pal ESPN, for his instant analysis. And Sal, welcome back. The Delaware Valley is buzzing today even after a late night last night. Everyone seems like they are got a good night of sleep. That's what an Eagle W does.
Yeah, and it was a tremendous win. Short week, losing players left and right to injury. Tremendous resilience and toughness by this football team. And I think the tone setter is Carson Wentz. This guy is ready to give up his body, do whatever it takes to get a win, which is another subject that we can have a conversation about. But the bottom line is that everybody's impressed with his mental and physical toughness, his preparedness, and his will to win. And I'll tell you, Mike, they want the whole thing right now. I was in that locker room after the game. This team is feeling confident to the point where you can just tell they don't want to settle for a season of 10-6. Or they don't want to even settle for a division title. They want the whole thing. This team feels like they can do the whole thing.
Well, let me ask you this, because last week we saw your piece where you got to sit with Doug Pederson from, what was that, a Range Rover he's rolling in right there?
Yes.
All right. So you're in there having a nice conversation from hotel to stadium. They want to win the whole thing. Does that come from the mentality of the coach? What did you learn about Doug Pederson in your time? Because I thought that was a really cool example and insight that you got the chance to ride with him and just kind of talk, shoot the breeze with him like that. That was pretty cool.
Well, the fact that he agreed to do it suggests that this is a guy who's comfortable in his own skin, confident in his own ability, that he doesn't care opening up what he does to the media. Now, this was the first time, Mike, that the NFL had ever agreed to anything like this, where a reporter was allowed to ride in with a coach to a regular season game or a preseason game. So it was literally a first. No one had ever tried it. And Pederson agreed to it. He actually agreed to it last year, and we would have done it week one. But Joe Biden and the Secret Service said no because of security concerns. So we revisited the issue. And just talking with him in the hotel and the way he handles people and the way he handles the players, you just can see he allows people's personalities to breathe and to organically flourish. He doesn't. He's not. The last coach was such a suffocating personality that this is very liberating to these players, and they play like that.
So let's fast forward that then to Carson, as you mentioned. He is the tone setter. That was my first hour of everything's different when you have a QB. When you have a QB, week to week you feel like you can win. You don't need so many things to have to go your way when you have a guy at that position. How does he set the tone, and what is it about him?
Well, I think last night, giving his body up for first downs, giving his body up to try to get it into the end zone. But his clutch performance on third down has now become his signature move, and throwing touchdown passes on third down. And the guy's got more touchdown passes on third down than Brady and Matt Ryan combined. So I mean, this guy's proven to be clutch. But if I could just bring up one negative, and I think it's a pretty significant negative, and I think it's something they have to address and fix. They need to figure out better pass protection for this young man.
Yes.
That's one. He cannot be open. It can't be open season on Carson Wentz from his blind side like it was last night, where he was taking body shots from different linebackers and corners, helmet shots straight at the ribs. These guys were just launching themselves, and Pete Morelli's crew was not calling them. There was a one roughing the passer that was so egregious, where one of the linebackers, 58, just launched his helmet into the left rib cage of Carson Wentz, and Doug Pederson went absolutely animal on the sideline, screaming for a call, and they didn't even reach. It wasn't even a reach. But okay, if you know this crew has got your number, for whatever reason, they've called 40 penalties to the opposition's 8 in the last 4 times that they've had the Eagles. If you know that going in, you've got to set yourself up for success and max protect the young man. I'm telling you right now, and this is on the coaching staff, they need to do a better job protecting him. And second, and most important, I know Carson Wentz wants to be a Cowboy. He's a hunter. I get that. He wants to play all out all the time. Can't do it. It's going to catch up with him, Mike.
Yeah.
I've seen it too many times.
You're referring to the play where he tries to run the guy over on the goal line.
And the play where he dove for the first down, head first into the teeth of a linebacker.
Right.
That was around midfield. There was 2 or 3 where he didn't slide. One was at the goal line, and there was 2 of them where he was trying to get a first down, and he slammed the football down on the ground after the protection broke down. You cannot be John Wayne at the quarterback position. The quarterback position is a complementary position, and he is the most important player, as you just mentioned. So I'm hoping that they spend the next 11 days fixing those 2 problems, because those are 2 very big problems. They're not small problems.
Right. They're the kind of things that they don't hurt you week to week, but it only takes 1 week, and that ends your season. If your quarterback gets hurt, that ends it, right?
Mike, one shot ends your season. You don't get a second chance.
Well, I'll tell you this.
You can lose Fletcher Cox for a couple weeks.
Right.
All right. You can lose a linebacker here or there. You can survive losing Darren Sproles, it looks like. You only get 1 shot. You lose Carson, it's over.
But on that, okay, and I agree with you, you lose the quarterback. How impressed are you? Is there more depth on this team than we thought?
No, I'm not. I don't think there's that much depth on the offensive line. Definitely not.
They lose. Last night they lose Hicks, right? What, they lose Hicks last night?
Hicks is coming back, though. I talked to him after the game. He said he's going to be okay.
Okay.
He was pretty optimistic. I think they are one more bad injury away from having a big problem on the offensive line.
Sure.
I don't know what's going on with Lane Johnson. I don't think the Eagles at this point really have a clear understanding of what's happening with him. And I don't blame the Eagles for that. I'm just saying concussions are very difficult to diagnose, and it's a difficult thing to come back from. So, we'll get a clearer picture about Lane Johnson probably not until Thursday of next week. They don't have to practice for the Monday night game until Thursday next week.
It's like a built-in bye.
So, yep, and it's good. And they really need to get Lane Johnson back. But if they don't get him back, they need a better plan.
Sal Pal Friday here. Don't forget, follow Sal on Twitter at SalPalESPN. Tomorrow morning.
No, that's Instagram. Sal Pal ESPN. No Twitter for me, boss.
That's
I'm
right.
Strictly Instagram. And I'll tell you what, the 2 videos that I had last night from Bank of America had 40,000 views. And unbelievable stuff, because people just can't get enough of the Eagles.
Right. Well, they traveled well. You were there last night. I saw after the game was over, you guys interviewing, and you could hear the fans still afterwards. And I saw your conversation with Malcolm Jenkins, and I'm interested. He said he's proud of the way the team played. Just how going on the road on a Thursday night, these short weeks, that's not easy. How much of a character win that is.
It is a character win, and it comes from guys like Malcolm Jenkins. And Malcolm Jenkins has had an up-and-down year because they've had so many injuries on the defensive backfield. But they played so well on defense, given the fact that, the referees handed the Panthers 126 yards. I mean, obviously the Eagles were guilty of some of those penalties, but with a differential of 126 yards to 1, that made the job that much harder. And they didn't complain, and they just strapped it up, put their chin straps back on, and played a heck of a ball game.
Sal, where's an area that the Eagles have surprised you in terms of they're better than you thought they would be?
I would say, it's tough. we thought their D-line was going to be good. We thought their O-line would struggle because of attrition and injuries. I just think the play of Carson Wentz on third down, that to me is a huge surprise.
And it's been a huge improvement, too. They were terrible in that area last year.
Huge. Monster big. Absolutely.
Real quick, what's Blount added to this team?
Patriot way. 2 words. Him and Chris Long. They know how to win. They want to win. They know how to finish. And that has really seeped into the culture of that locker room. I was standing next to Tom Donahoe, who was a special personnel advisor, came from the Steelers organization. I'm standing outside the coach's office, waiting to talk to Carson Wentz one-on-one. He was in the presser, and the coaches are coming by, and front office people. And I said to Tom, who I've known for years, he's an old hand, knows personnel. He said, this team has confidence when they go on the field. They think they can win every game.
And a lot of that's because of the QB?
I believe so.
Yeah. Sal, one thing I said leading up to this year and this week, I don't know how they'll be this year, but when you have that kid, I just don't see him being the starting quarterback of a team that has those consistent 5-11, 6-10 type of seasons. That kid, I don't know that he has MVP numbers or whatever it turns out, but there's something about him that says his team will win.
I agree with you 100%.
Tomorrow morning, 8:30, ESPN 2, the matchup show, ESPN 6:30 Sunday. Sal Powell, Lewis Riddick, Greg Cosell, Instagram, Sal Powell, ESPN. I'm already on. I'm following. I've been watching the videos. And, of course, a Sal Powell Friday here on 97.3. Sal, you have more football on Sunday?
I'm at Patriots-Jets. And then I'm anchoring the coverage from the owners' meetings in New York. That'll be interesting.
That'll be very interesting.